Hey, here's the mineral pit we did about 6 weeks. So just to show you what's going on with it. As you can see, some of the nutrients and minerals have either dissolved, started going into the soil a little bit, maybe digested. There are some deer tracks in the pit itself. So we have a camera on it. We'll take a look at that, probably see that in a couple of minutes. So it looks like our pit is doing good. The one buck liquor we have in there is melting down. Not sure whether they were going after that or some of the other minerals in here. Gonna put one more in here, still early June, so certainly not doing anything game law wise violating that. So put one more in there. That'll probably be it for the year for the pit. Hopefully it'll just bring some more in. Early June at home, have some deer. You can see the doe have not dropped their fawns yet, so anything they're eating in here, they're passing right into the fawns at this point. And then of course, as they nurse the fawns, hopefully that'll give them a little bit of a head start, and hopefully the coyotes leave them alone. One other thing I'll point out, looks like we had a little bit of a storm come through and knocked a couple trees down. Looks like we had the tree chain reaction. Looks like we had one with a rotten trunk, it was pretty big. Knocked another big one down, knocked a few more down. So this is almost like hinge cutting. So if you probably want to take a look, Google hinge cutting and what that can do for your deer. This is almost like doing some hinge cutting in here. Of course, you'd want to do more and have it a little bit thicker, but it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that, and if some deer bed in it and browse off of it. And that's really what your hinge cutting is supposed to do. It's supposed to hold deer in your area as far as they want to bed in that, because it's nice and thick and protected. And of course, all those nice juicy leaves are right at the right level for them to bite. So kind of interesting to come down and see that. As you can see, the size of those trees, it's not certainly something that we did. That was nature's way. So pretty interesting. Now here's about the 2-month progress on the mineral pit. Still a little bit left of the Sportsman's Choice minerals in there. You can see a little bit of the green left, and a couple of those other blocks that we've put in there last few times that we've been in there. So it's right at the beginning of July now, so we'll let this pit go. And looks like it's bringing in deer. We'll have to check the pictures again. Hey, White Rook 85 here. Just taking a look. We came back after about 6 weeks to check our feeder out, and looks interesting from what we can see on the tree here. This is where I had the board where I tied the line off on. This was actually broken down over here like this, and I don't think you can tell. Maybe I'll come in and take a closer look. But it looks like something, and I'd have to say from looking at the scratches, bears were climbing up on here. When the feeder was out, they'd shake the feeder to get more corn out. I don't really see any scratches or dents on the feeder. Feeder's still looking good, but it's completely empty of corn. And usually when you get down and it stops feeding corn, there's still usually at least an inch, maybe a half inch of corn sitting on the bottom of it. This is completely empty. So we were talking about bears in the area. I do have my game camera set up, so hopefully right after this I'll put some still shots of the activity that went on with the feeder and what's going on with it. You can see, get the scratches. You can see the scratches in here. You can see how they had to be climbing up and down this, because we didn't do that one. Some scratch marks here. There are some scratch marks in the paint. So I think a bear was definitely used this as a shaker feeder. So at least glad we had it up far enough where they couldn't get on it and pound it. Well, back to fill the feeder up after a few weeks here at Camp Go time. And as I mentioned in the initial video when I was installing it, I kept saying bear area. Well, this is bear area because the feeder took a little bit of a hit this time I came up. Let's take a look at it and see what they did to it. It's not major. I think I can fix everything back up again, but I'm sure they're gonna beat the hell out of it as soon as they can. So let's just take a quick look. And here's my record rack corn that I was going to fill it up with. A little bit of rope. I hope to do some repairs. And the lid was off. So they had either the raccoons or the bungee, or the raccoons or bears ripped through the bungees. I'm not sure if you can see, but we got a dent mark in there. You can see claw marks on there. Not on the top, but on the sides a little bit. Right in here, some claw marks. And let's take a look at our feeder. Let me get back a little bit. As we can see, it's just hanging sideways without the lid, and the bucket, one of it is off on one side, so I'm going to lower it down, see if I can fix that, and see what we can do. Now this is pretty high up. It's about 10-11 feet up there, but they're climbing right up the tree. So for next year, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Those bears are really they really know when they have some dinner waiting for them, so what can you do? So I'm going to lower it down, fill her up, and I'll put it back up again. Yeah, I used some of the extra rope we had to tie this off. I'm not sure this is going to work or not, to keep them from taking the lid off. Most likely they'll either bite right through this, or the raccoons will bite right through it, so I might have to figure out some type of chain for it, some type of thin chain. Have to check out Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever and see what they have for it. But I'm going to hoist it up a little bit, make sure my battery's still good, and see what happens. Well, for sure the battery's still okay. To me, there's a good amount of corn on the ground, but you know, bears, raccoons, they aren't satisfied with what's on the ground or waiting for the next feeding. So what can you do, really? I'm going to close this up, hoist her all the way up, and see what happens the next time.